What movie death scene is seared into your memory? Curb Stomp from American History X. No question. The scene in Casino where Joe Pesci watches his brother get beaten to death with aluminum baseball bats. The pinging sound haunts me to this day. Saving Private Ryan is one of my all-time favorite movies, but I can't watch the scene where Mellish gets stabbed. John Coffey from The Green Mile. Don't put me in the dark, is afraid of the dark. Bridge to Terabithia. Thanks for killing me inside. In Titanic, the man plummeting from the sinking ship into the icy waters only to have his fall interrupted by steel, metal propellers. Littlefoot's mom dying. Ghost ship. A cable sweeps through a dance floor so fast and sharp it slices people in half. The shoe in Roger Rabbit. The baby gorilla in the animated Tarzan. What the hell, Disney? In Silence of the Lambs when Hannibal gets a hold of the guard in his cage cell and starts biting his face. 9-year-old me was not ready for that, and I was less ready to hear my mom start laughing hysterically at the scene. I guess she just found it absurd. Not technically a death, but when Wall-E's memory banks got fried, at the end, I felt that in my soul. Thankfully Pixar would never leave us on a note like that, but damn, that little robot moved me so much. Will Smith smothering the dog as it turns, in I Am Legend. When they crushed Piggy in Lord of the Flies, I was probably too young to watch. Also, the scientist who gets killed in the elevator in Damien, the Omen E. When the shark kills Quint in Jaws. Hereditary, the car crash. Boromir in Fellowship of the Ring. The scene in Bone Tomahawk where they rip the guy in half. Got to be the scene in Inglourious Basterds where Bridget von Hammersmark is strangled to death. That was intense. Professor Xavier in Logan. Sir Patrick Stewart is such an actor. That poor guy who gets his heart ripped out by Thugies and sent into lava in Temple of Doom always got me as a kid. Still pretty memorable. Oberyn Martell in Game of Thrones made me physically ill. Watch Serenity. Cedric Diggory's death in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. His dad crying and sobbing and just made me never forget it. 1917, when Lance Corporal Blake gets shot, stabbed by the enemy he was trying to help after a plane crash, and then his best friend has to watch him bleed out and later tell Blake's brother about his death. Awful. The Green Mile. The whole thing, even down to the damn mass. That movie was the first that ever made me cry and broke through my depression. No film will ever overwrite that one. Mr. Fredrickson's wife in Up. Thomas from My Girl. Macaulay Culkin. https://www.youtube.com/watch v=x7zdig https://www.youtube.com/watch v=x7zdig. Probably this guy in Black Hawk Down. So he was in this convoy truck and it got blown up by an RPG. Then one of the soldiers picked up his hand then saw the guy dying with half his body blown off. His last words: "Tell my girls it'll be okay." I saw that scene when I was a kid and it never left my head. Not a movie but TV show. Glenn's death from The Walking Dead. His fucking eye popping out of its socket, trying to speak between blows, and then the mush of blood and brains where his head is supposed to be, and all of this happening right in front of Maggie. Perhaps that was what bothered me the most. Not the gore but the idea of watching a loved one be so brutally beaten to death. It seriously fucked me up for days. RoboCop. Buddy gets covered with toxic waste, and then gets hit by a car and explodes like a water balloon. Edit minus syntax. Edit to minus. Murphy's death was hard to watch for sure. Poor bastard. But I could never get the vision of the windshield goo out of my head. Drew Barrymore hanging from a tree, with the camera zooming in, to start scream. It might not have showed their death, but the fact that they show Carl and Ellie's story in Up, even if it's pretty quick, makes Ellie's death much more impactful. Satine's death in Moulin Rouge, minus right after she got back together with her love. They sing this awesome love song, and she dies as the curtain goes down. Ewan McGregor breaks my heart with that sobbing. Long live the king. New TV show, Breaking Bad, Gus Fring. Tick 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 tick. Oh, oh. How woo. Boom. Walks out, straightens tie, dies. The one secretary lady from Jurassic World. All she wanted was to plan her wedding and not drag around two snotty brats all day. The end of The Mist. It is the most emotionally gut-wrenching scene I have ever seen. The man and woman in Titanic that lay in bed together as the water starts rising in the room. Artax. Blade Runner. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die. https://www.youtube.com/watch v = nospa1x7 Jew. Dobby. Niall's suicide in Dead Poets Society. Edit. Tie for my first ever silver. Second edit. Never expected this to blow up. Oh, thank you for the gold, kind stranger. The death of Mufasa. And if that doesn't get me the dad, wake up, surely does. Yondu. Anyone else here have traumatic memories of movies you were too young to watch, but you saw anyway because your dad just left them on TV in the middle of the day? My worst one, I think, is Poseidon Adventure. So the cast makes it all the way to the very end. There's like 5 minutes left in the movie, Theo climbing the ladder that will lead to safety, and fucking Linda just falls off the ladder and dies. Then her husband starts on a rant about my dear sweet Linda and it's heartbreakingly good acting. But then the leader of the group decides to sacrifice himself so the others can escape safely. But even at age 6 I felt like that wasn't really necessary. He just felt bad because Linda's husband was giving him shit. Because Linda couldn't hold onto a fucking ladder. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I'll never forget the movie that killed off two main characters in completely unnecessary ways in the final 5 minutes when they were a few feet away from safety. Also Mars Attacks. Like the whole fucking movie. I saw that when I was 7 years old. The Martians had guns that turned people into skeletons. Fuck that. The cop from Saw 5 who throws Jigsaw's apprentice into that coffin thing before getting crushed to death between two walls. The panic and brutality of the scene. You see his arm snap as he tries to hold the walls apart. I'd really like to watch through the series again, but the though of that scene stops me. I could watch the first one no problem, but it just gets too much and I really feel uncomfortable watching that. I've only seen it once and that was enough. Wilson. The sister's death in Grave of the Fireflies. Oh god, when the elders jumped off that cliff in Midsommar. The end of the boy in the striped pajamas. Absolutely heartbreaking. First Resident Evil guy gets diced by lasers. Sam from I Am Legend. The six-fingered man in The Princess Bride. I want my father back, you son of a bitch. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. That Ewok who gets killed in Return of the Jedi. No Country for Old Men when Anton Chigurh stops a car, calmly walks up to the driver and uses a captive bolt pistol to kill the driver. It was swift and emotionless. It just showed the ease and proficiency with killing. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. The final scene where he gestures. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the music hits simultaneously. Edit. As pointed out by most of you, it wasn't a countdown. My bad. It was a thumbs up gesture which I had mistakenly thought to be a countdown when I was younger. Link to that tragic and empowering moment. https://youtube.b/lopo1zmhd. John Wick Dog. William Wallace. Ava Green's character drowning in Casino Royale. Having James Bond watching her as she about to drown horribly has always stuck with me. For movies, Brooks was here. For TV, it's the snake pit in Vikings and the kitchen sink /fork in Sons of Anarchy. When Sirius Black died. Most recently it was Gamora in Infinity War. I thought the G/motion capture on Thanos' face to capture how much it tore him up to kill her was superbly done. Bing Bong was also bloody heartbreaking. Leo's death in The Departed. I was so unprepared. Oberyn Martell killed by the mountain in Game of Thrones. I literally read it in the book, didn't completely understand /believe, and searched for it on YouTube. What's in the books? Two scenes come to mind. Oberyn's death in GOT, and the one in Pan's Labyrinth where the bad guy bashes the poor kid's nose in with a bottle. Edit. In front of his father. Truly awful. Edit. There's something really disturbing about ending someone's life by literally shattering their face. Something apart from the obvious gore aspect of it. It's like destroying someone's whole identity, in a way not even a loved one could recognize them. I don't know the words to describe that fear those fictional instances made me feel. Boromirs' death, preceded by one of the greatest sword fight scenes ever made. All the deaths in Schindler's List. That's how someone who gets shot actually dies like. Thought they'd make it dramatic and shitty like how most other movies do. But no. They got the dying part perfectly. The moment where a human being ends and a lifeless sack of meat, skin and bones begins. I was a really edgy 17-year-old and I've seen lots of people die on video. Can't stand watching that shit anymore. Tony Stark in Endgame. Seeing a man who so many of us grew up with lie still, not a single snarky remark or pun. It devastated me. Subscribe, like and comment if you hate outros, begging you to subscribe, like and comment.